If Man United fail in their bid for Fabregas, who else is on David Moyes' list? Thiago Silva is a no-go, but will Aga do for Barcelona? And is Brendan Rodgers preparing for life without Suarez? Joining me this week are former Aston Villa and England defender Ugo Ehiogu and goal correspondent Greg Stobart. I'm Nat Coombs, and this is Transfer Talk. So we'll start with new business and Man United's ongoing search for a midfielder. Ugo, irrespective of the need to land a marquee signing, they really need to strengthen this area, don't they?
I think that they've lost a lot of creativity with Scholes going. Ryan Giggs is not going to play as many games, less influential. You're talking about they were still pretty good enough to win the league, by 10, 15 points with that team. So I don't think it's going to be a major thing. I think it's more for David Moyes that he needs to be able to produce or buy a marquee signing. That's
the problem, isn't it, Greg? There's been a very public courting of Fabregas, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
It looks like Fabregas is all but dead in the water. He was the #1 target. He would have been ideal. As you say, Nat, it's been very difficult for United. They're trying to get a player who will improve a team that won the league last season. They need creativity. Fabregas would have been perfect. Modric would be perfect, but that doesn't look like that's going to happen either.
Rumours of Schweinsteiger. I can't see him leaving Bayern.
I can't see it at all. There are a few whispers about Guardiola not getting on with some of the Bayern Munich players, but he's out of their league at the moment, and that's the problem they're having, especially as Moyes is trying to make his mark in the transfer market. I think they've got a fullback option, that's Fellaini, and I think he'd do a very good job for them.
Well, that's the problem, though, isn't it, from Fellaini's point of view, being the fullback option. He was one of the players that was immediately linked when Moyes got the job at Old Trafford. How's he going to feel, Ugo, if he thinks I'm the 5th, 6th choice here?
It's a tough one. I would like to think that David Moyes has been in contact, certainly limited contacts with Fellaini, so he's keeping him abreast of the situation. But yeah, I think you'll probably be getting more stick in the dressing room. It's not happening, your 2nd, 3rd choice. But Man United is a massive club. And I think, however it comes about, Fellaini will go there if he's offered that chance.
So, Greg, is Fellaini the most likely Man United midfield signing this summer?
Yeah, they know what his buyout clause is. They can activate at any point. Moyes knows him very well. I think it's going to happen.
So let's move on to Barcelona then. Lots of fans are asking us about their search for a new defender. Are they going to land someone this summer, Greg?
They've got a chance, and I think they need one too. They missed out on Thiago Silva. That's been confirmed by the club. He was their first choice. I think they've now turned to David Luiz as their next best option. Jose Mourinho, the Chelsea manager, says that he's not going to listen to offers for Luiz. From what I'm hearing, that's not quite the case. I think there's a chance that could happen.
The backup plan, if David Luiz stays at Stamford Bridge, is Daniel Aga. Can you see him there?
I can, yeah. He's a type of defender that the new camp would grace and would love. There'd be a little question mark over his fitness. He's missed quite a few games since he signed for Liverpool, but I think he certainly would be the cheaper option.
Yeah, he'd be the cheaper option. Would Luiz represent the best value all round because he's more expensive?
I think because he's younger as well, and he's more of a ball-playing centre-half that would certainly fit the Camp Nou. So yeah, whether or not, I don't think he's particularly a Mourinho defender. So I could see if a big enough offer came in, I could see him going.
Whether Aga does end up going, it seems like Brendan Rodgers wants to deal either Skrtel or Aga, so presumably he's going to have to bring in some reinforcements. Yeah,
he's been pretty ruthless this summer, Brendan Rodgers. At centre-back, certainly, he'd listen to offers for Skrtel. He may even go on loan to Napoli, just like Reina did before him. You've seen Andy Carroll go. Stuart Downey may leave too. He definitely wants to improve at centre-back. Papadopoulos is the #1 choice, and he would be perfect for them. He's an absolute monster, I think. But the big issue for him, and it's going to hang over them until the end of the transfer window, is how he's dealing with Suarez, and he says he's not for sale too.
Let's move into headliners then, and we'll stick with Liverpool and Luis Suarez, because his position has been markedly different to Wayne Rooney's and Gareth Bale's, hasn't it?
Yeah, for a start, Suarez is the only one who's come out publicly and says that he wants to leave. He wants to play in the Champions League. We haven't heard anything from Rooney and Bale, but we have heard via their camps that they want to leave. I think Suarez and Rooney could both put in the transfer request in the next week or so, so that's going to really step things up on those accounts. Bale's a slightly different story, though.
Suarez seems to be prepared to get more aggressive to get what he wants. That's a little bit inconsistent with Arsene Wenger's position on the kind of player that he wants to see at the Emirates, isn't it?
It is. I think that the need for a marquee signing certainly of someone affordable as Suarez, it's just changed the goalpost a little bit for Arsenal. He's been very coy about it, but I think deep down he knows that Suarez is probably going to have to push that to get that transfer going.
A lot of attention on Arsenal leaving it late, Greg. Chelsea are leaving it pretty late with Rooney, aren't they?
I think it was always going to rumble until the end of the transfer window with Rooney, because Manchester United has said he's not for sale. Moyes has said he's not for sale. So just from a PR perspective, much as anything, United have pushed that agenda. Rooney knows he's got to push for the move. He's been doing it, building it up and up all summer. He thinks he's got no way back. He's certainly got no way back with the fans. You speak to Man United fans, and as far as they're concerned, it's over. It's going to rumble, but I think there's more to come. I think we might see Rooney refusing to play at some point.
So we've seen Rodgers being ruthless, Wenger being a little bit inconsistent. AVB has been pretty vocal in his criticism of Real Madrid's courtship of Bale, hasn't he?
Spurs are disgusted with Real Madrid and with Bale's camp as well. They think that they've gone back on their word. They said Bale would stay for 1 more year. They think that they've used the media to try and push the transfer. Tottenham are adamant that they want £100 million. We'll see, because that's going to develop in the next week or so as well. What we do know is that Bale really, really wants to go to Real Madrid now.
Ugo, Spurs have got every right to be angry at Real Madrid, haven't they?
They have. I think it's typical Real Madrid how they handle transfers. You get the player on side and turn his head. It does become very difficult then. In
terms of a player having his head turned, something you've had first-hand experience with, what's the mood like in the dressing room once that's happened?
It depends. I think if it's an aggravated move, players can be isolated because your single goal is just to leave. You're not cared about your players, and it's not a nice way to do it. I was there when Dwight York left for Man United from Aston Villa, and it was more of a friendly banter around the change room, because Man United came in with the price, and it was just a case of when.
You can't begrudge a player joining a team like Man United, can you?
No, I think that for the players, that's why it was quite jovial, because anyone else in his position would have done exactly the same.
And I think that's the case in the Tottenham dressing room now too. Bale's a nice guy, he's very popular, he's important to the team, and who can blame him for wanting to go to the biggest club in the world? And he deserves to be playing the Champions League every week.
So, gents, we're now in added time where I put our viewers' questions to you. Greg, we're going to start with you. Justin via YouTube wants to know about Ganzo and whether he's a likely target for Man United. Says he's a pretty decent midfielder. No chance of Ganzo to Manchester United. A few years ago, a few Premier League clubs were looking at him, but he's had an awful injury record, and for me, he's not mobile enough to play in the Premier League. Ugo, T-Tash244 via Twitter says, is Christian Eriksen going to Liverpool? I think that could be a likely transfer. I think with Stuart Downing possibly going, almost imminent, I think it frees up another midfield spot. So I think that's going to happen. And Mario via Facebook says Honda to Milan is the most frustrating transfer ever. Is it ever going to happen? I think it's going to happen one day. It's just whether it happens in January or now. Milan are going to sign him on a free transfer in January if they can't agree a deal this summer. I think they will eventually, between €3 and €5 million. That looks like it's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. That's it for today. If you like what you've seen, don't forget to press the subscribe button. If you want to ask our panel a question, you can do so via Twitter, YouTube or Facebook. And for more on the stories in today's show, head on over to Goal.